Shalom, this is George with a quick Hebrew lesson. This week in the Torah portion is the word is called Vayekra, and we're going to look at this word briefly, learn a little bit about Hebrew. Now, Hebrew words are based on a root word with the addition of letters before and after, prefixes and suffixes, changing the meaning of the word slightly. Often the root word carries through the meaning of the words that are built off of it. And you have when you understand the root word, you understand how those words build upon it. Now, this week, we're going to look at the word Vayekra, which is the name of the book of Leviticus in Hebrew. This is given its name because Vayekra is the first word in the book. This is called incipit. Not insipid, not bland and tasteless, but actually just the first word, incipit. And this is a process used very common in Hebrew for naming any sort of book or passage. And so the first word in this passage is Vayekra. And I have here the word Vayekra. Now, Hebrew reads from right to left, so it goes backwards. And the root word in this is Kuf Resh, Kra. And this word has two prefixes. The Vav, which is and. When you put the Vav at the beginning of the word, because a Vav is a nail or a hook, that means and. It adds and to the front of the word. And then a Yud, which means he. Now, in this case, Kra, with an Aleph, means came upon or met with. So what we have here is and he met with. And that's what the word Vayekra means. Now, this is interesting because the book of Leviticus starts with and he met with, almost as though it's the middle of something, which it is. What we see at the end of the book of Exodus, Shemot, is the completion of the Mishkan and the glory of the Lord resting on the Mishkan. And this feels like it's coming immediately afterwards, like the glory of the Lord fell upon the Mishkan and they thought they were done, and suddenly the Lord had more to tell them. And there's an interesting anomaly here, which you'll see in some Hebrew, where I've written it in like this, and you'll see, if you look in a Tanakh or a Torah scroll, you'll see that this word Vayekra at the beginning of the book of Vayekra, the Aleph in the word is smaller than the other letters. There's no upper or lower case in Hebrew, so when you see a larger or smaller letter, there's some other reason for it. Now, in my studies, what I found was that Hebrew scholars say that the reason the Aleph is small is because the Aleph represents God. It's the leader, the king, it's the bull, the teacher. It represents the strength and therefore represents God. And the reason that this Aleph is small is the suggestion that the Lord sort of snuck up on Moses in this case. It sort of came to him suddenly and unexpectedly. So I became interested in this word, and I started looking around for other places where it was used. And the most notable place where it was used was in Numbers chapter 23, verse 4, where Balaam had instructed Balak to erect 7 altars and to sacrifice a bull and a ram on each altar. And then after they had sacrificed the bulls, Balaam told Balak, "The Lord will now meet with me, and I will talk with him." And then the Lord did come upon him and meet with him. And that's the word used, that same root word, Kra. And he met with Balaam. And this is interesting because it is, you can sort of see Balaam as the anti-Moses. He's a prophet, he's a Gentile, he's doing everything for the wrong reason. He for some reason his eye is open and he's a prophet, but he's driven by greed, he's arrogant in what he does, he's calling upon God by his own means, by his own desire, and he arrogantly expects the Lord to show up. The Lord shows up not to help Balaam, but to demonstrate that he is blessing Israel rather than cursing Israel. he's using Balaam to bless it. And to this day, many synagogues will sing the songs "How Lovely Are Thy Tents," and repeat the blessings that Balaam spoke over Israel. So we can see that from looking at these words, from looking at their placement, how the Lord wants us to worship him in the way that he describes, and he wants us to worship him in the spirit of humility and grace.